Welcome to another video on the Canon Side View. Today we are going to be talking about the dreaded topic, the topic that we should not be talking about in this day and age in Arsenal Football Club. Going into this season, we bought a lot of players. We talk about the likes of Martin Zubimendi, Christian Norgard, Christian Mosquera, Kepa Arrizabalaga, the most expensive goalkeeper in the world. We bought Eberechi Eze, we bought Noni Madueke, we bought Victor Gyökeres. It was meant to go all smooth, It was meant to be, we had 3 backups in each position. That's how it was meant to go. But has it gone like that in true Arsenal fashion? It hasn't. And we have been hit with several sucker punches this international break. And it was too good to be true because we've had 2 international breaks without injuries this season. I knew it was too good to be true. And it all started last week with Calafiori withdrawing from the Italy squad. We feared the worst, but it was later confirmed that it was just a warning. And the actual punch came. That was like a pump fake, But the actual blow came against how do you say, Senegal or Brazil. The actual blow came against them, and damn, it is annoying, Gabriel went down with an injury. It wasn't an impact injury, but should he have been playing at that point in an international friendly? I don't know. I can't tell you that, but it's unfortunate. And all of a sudden, we've lost one of our key starters. It was okay to have injuries, but our depth could cover it up. But there are some injuries that you just can't afford to have in the likes of those type of influential players in your team. The likes of Declan Rice, the likes of Martin Odegaard, the likes of Gabriel Magalhaes, which unfortunately has gone down. And yes, I know we're meant to be more optimistic because all we did this season after the transfer window was coming with the whole narrative of squad depth. We have the best squad, but now we're depleted. We're actually in the same situation that we were in around this time last season, but it might actually be worse this time. But we've had the boost that we needed in the past few weeks, winning. The only points that we dropped was against Sunderland, and even if you look at that game, it was kind of the injuries also catching up to us in a way because you had nobody you can bring on. But now, this is the time for Arsenal fans to actually do 2 things actually for me, and I want to know this, maybe 3 things when it now comes to football fans in general, Premier League fans in general. The first thing I want Arsenal fans to do is believe. This isn't the time to come and say that, oh, but we're talking about squad depth now. Our whole squad is injured. We're going to be in the same position that we were last season. No, you've bought players, Pierre Nkapie, for us to mention him earlier, an invincible with Bayer Leverkusen. An invincible, the second team in the modern history after this Arsenal to go unbeaten in a whole season in the modern era. The only team behind Arsenal in all of the top 5 leagues in the world. And he was part of that team and he scored goals and he assisted goals. So don't worry, you've bought. Trust your team. Trust your team. There's nothing, just trust your team, Arsenal fans. Trust your team. You've bragged about it. Now this is the time to show that you stand on business. What is a team if you can't win without our leaders? What is a team if you can't win without the people that make us win normally? Nothing. Because a team doesn't always have to be together to win. They always have to just know each other. They always have to know that they have each other's back. They always have to know that they trust each other to do what they're meant to do. If Nkapie comes in, Gabriel should not be asking Nkapie that, did you cover your man? Gabriel needs to be able to trust Nkapie to cover his man. That is what a team is. No, it's not the time to be questioning whether anybody is good enough. If they are good enough to be bought by Arsenal, they are good enough to play for Arsenal. So Arsenal fans, believe that this team is going to actually go on. And then when the cavalry actually comes back, it's be over for every other team in the Premier League. The second thing that I want to do, and might contradict what I said earlier, but I think we need to have, I don't know whether we need a petition or something, but I think we need to have an inquest into the injuries going on in the Premier League, in Arsenal as first. Because you look at, who do we have out? We have Gabriel Jesus out, which is an ACL we know from January. We have Martin Odegaard out, was the impact knee injury, which is unfortunate, is medial collateral ligament or something like that. You have Kai Havertz out, which is, we didn't even know, was the first game in the Premier League against this season against United. He came on and he didn't show any signs after 90 minutes because he came on around 78 minutes for Victor Gyökeres, and all we heard after the game is that he's going to be out for a long while, and they're like, what happened to him? And they couldn't give us an answer, which is crazy. But we have Kai Havertz out. Gabriel Martinelli has been playing well all of a sudden. The week after, was it the week before Burnley? Who did we play? I can't even remember. I can't remember who we played before Burnley. All of a sudden, we heard that he's out. We don't know. This guy was literally sprinting on the wing. I think it was Atletico Madrid. All of a sudden, all we know is he's out. Victor Gyökeres against Burnley. We knew that he had maybe a head collision. Maybe it was concussion. That means maybe he's out for maybe like a week at most. All of a sudden, we're hearing that he's going to be out till early December. But Noni Madueke, one of the brightest players against Man City, came up at halftime. We were thinking maybe it was tactical. All we heard is that he's going to be out for 2 months. Now, Gabriel, all of these things, we need an inquest into what the medical team is doing. And I also look beyond Arsenal. And I look at the Premier League as a whole. You see players actually going down with injuries. Even new signings for Liverpool, we talk about Jeremy Frimpong. I don't think he has had one injury, he came back and then he had another injury again. This early in the season, I don't think when you want to be having those injuries, when you should be having those injuries is at the back end of the season, the running, talking about February, March, April, May. I don't think you should be having those injuries in October and September. That's very, very weird. That's the second month in the season. For crying out loud. We need to understand. And you look at the games, can the Premier League structure games? You ask that question, can the Premier League structure games better? They're talking about the international break as well. That is a very big vulnerability for some players because usually when it comes to this part of the seasons, let's say because of the World Cup year, because players try to give their all for their team, for their national teams. Does that play a role in what is going on? We need to ask these questions as fans. We need to ask these questions. Before our game against Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup was rescheduled, it was in between the Champions League game and I think Everton in December. And that was just 3 days. Now let's look at it like this. Can games be structured better? Can games be postponed and structured in the calendar better? Because now you look at the run of games that we have up next. We have Tottenham Hotspur on Sunday. Then I think we have Bayern on Wednesday or Tuesday. I think it should be Wednesday. We have Bayern on Wednesday. Then we have Chelsea on Saturday. So if you count that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so you have Monday and Tuesday to rest for Bayern, which is one of the biggest games this season. Then after that, you take Wednesday, then you have Thursday and Friday to prepare for Chelsea as well, to rest and recover and then prepare as well. So I don't know whether the games that players play these days are too much, whether they can structure games better. I know the international break next season is going to be 3 weeks only for this stretch, so they have modified that. But would that really make a difference? I think we need to ask these questions. And as I said, Arsenal fans, you need to believe. You need to believe. Last season, we didn't have the luxury. We didn't have the luxury because if Saka went down, we had Waneri who held the fort good. At the back end of the season, Kai Havertz went down. We had to use a DM as a striker. We were in the pit of hell. We might have to use a DM again as a striker this coming weeks. I don't know. And then we're having Happy. And I'm brilliantly confident in what this team can do. I'm going to do a preview after the press conference on Friday. Then starting my predicted 11, what I want to see and what I think Arteta will pick will come out on Saturday ahead of the Sunday game against Tottenham Hotspur in the North London derby. And then this evening, depending on if we win or lose against Real Madrid, the Arsenal women, I'm going to do a match reaction. I had a match reaction for Spurs, the Spurs game that they played, I have a lot to say about that, but I don't want to talk before the Real Madrid game. So I'm going to do that as joint, depending on if we win or lose. So yeah, Arsenal fans, believe and come on, you Gunners.